Recovery after a difficult childbirth isn't entirely intuitive. It's really common to want to put those negative feelings away and push the experience into the back corners and the recesses of the mind, especially when you have a newborn at home and perhaps other children, or you're tending to your relationship, or even getting back to work. Doing the emotional work of healing trauma doesn't seem like a priority. But when we don't do that healing work, the trauma follows us and starts to interfere with our connections with others and our ability to feel safe in the world. I'm Allison Lorne, and I'm a certified nurse midwife. I help people recover from difficult and traumatic childbirth experiences. After 20 years of working in the field, I had suffered through enough of our healthcare system in this country, in the United States, delivering suboptimal care to new families, sending patients home after traumatic events and not providing enough follow up. For me, just felt like a real disconnect. And it's brought me to the work I'm doing now, which is solely focused on the traumatic recovery of difficult childbirth. If you find yourself in this situation watching this video, then I applaud you for mobilizing the resources and doing the research and identifying that you are in the midst of a healing journey and want to start recovery. It takes a lot to even start. If you'd like to visit my website, visit the link in my bio, and you can learn more about my offerings, my online community, and my one-to-one trauma-informed coaching. You can also download my free postpartum care checklist. It's full of tips to create more comfort and ease in the postpartum period. Now, in this video, I'd like to talk about four main topics. One, where to start on the healing recovery journey. Two, how to begin. Three, where to get that courage to step forward in that journey. And four, how to get the motivation to do it. So, starting the journey is in identifying that what you experienced was trauma. Trauma occurs pretty easily when we look at the definition of trauma being a loss of control over your circumstances and a fear for your well being or that of your loved ones, including the unborn baby. So, it's really easy to see in labor delivery, you just don't feel like you have a lot of control over the circumstances, and you might have fear even just upon arrival, escalating as things are progressing or the intensity is increasing in the room. Maybe just having strangers and people that you don't know around, or picking up on the stress of healthcare providers if they're concerned for your well being. This is all enough to contribute to traumatic experience. Now, no one can tell you if you had trauma or not. That's for you to decide. It's a very personal experience, and it only matters that you feel like you're not yourself after the event. And we can talk about the signs of trauma that include hyperreactivity, irritability, anxiety, insomnia, nightmares, sometimes flashbacks, a hypervigilance, an inability to feel safe. Sometimes it just feels like you're not engaged with the world like you used to. And you might begin to see how it's interfering with your relationships. And when I talk about relationships, I'm including the little children that you might have in the home as well. They are some of the most highly perceptive people in your life, and they'll understand when you're not available to connect. You know, when we decide we don't want to deal with those feelings, we're really building a wall to protect ourselves. And pushing those feelings away means we're pushing others away as well. I'll talk more about this when we get into the motivation for healing and how important it is for our relationships. So, where to start is first in understanding that you had trauma. And that is really the most important step. When you have that established, you can start accessing more resources. It really opens the door to educating yourself, searching for videos and reading material, and learning more about what trauma really is and how to heal from trauma. Now, I have a program that involves a 5-step process to help heal your birth story after a traumatic birth. And if you get my website, like click the link in my bio, you'll see that process explained. And I'll go into that more in other videos. But that first step is in validating your story. It's in helping you feel heard and seen and witnessed and validated. And it's so important that you have that need met before you even try to start moving forward. So, working with the story as it stands right now is really about finding a supportive audience that is uplifting and encouraging of people that have possibly gone through something similar. And this leads me to offering you membership to my online community. On my website, you can fill out an application to join the community. And I facilitate our meetings, and I am completely dedicated to creating safe space where you feel witnessed, validated, heard, and at the same time, understand that we're trying to move through the old story, reaching for themes of empowerment and heroism. So, how to begin? Please visit my website. And if you're going to join another kind of group, I really encourage you to be really vigilant about the tone in that group. Is this a group where people are just telling their old stories without reaching through to the other side? Telling and repeating our old stories just reinforces to our subconscious the negative emotions and the negative feelings that we have in response to that trigger. It doesn't really help you or anyone else by telling those old stories again and again. And it is important to feel witnessed and heard and validated. But if you feel like you just keep telling the story and nothing's changing for you, one, you're not getting the witness and validation and support you need. And two, you don't have the tools to reach through and know that there's more steps ahead that you can take to help you heal. Now, beginning this work on your own, you can also look for my workbook that I'll be uploading shortly. That'll be on my website also. And that is a purchased workbook that you can take on work on your own. It's full of journal prompts and exercises to help you write out your birth story, and goes through the 5 steps about bringing you through the transformation of rewriting that birth story. We talk about finding the courage to do this work. I really want to applaud you for being here in the first place. It takes a lot to just admit to the fact that you need help sometimes. Really, it can be like overwhelming that we get so burdened by this sense of having to do it all, of being independent, of taking care of yourself, of taking care of the family. And when we break down and really say we need help, that we can't do this alone, it really like opens the heart, it opens the path to our vulnerability. Our humanity is, it exists in connecting with others. Our humanity is called upon when we can help others. So, really, there's no shame in asking for help. It's what we're wired for. And we get these funny messages mixed up from society that postpartum is supposed to be like your happiest time of your life, and you're not supposed to have any needs beyond what your nuclear family can provide. But we were never really meant to raise children in these little islands. We were meant to be in community. We were meant to have the help of others that have gone before us. And finding this courage is really about finding the value and calling back the part of ourselves that got pushed away when we pushed away those negative feelings. Pushing away negative feelings means that we're cutting off a part of our personality as well. We don't get to just say no to pain without also saying no to joy. Joy and pain are two sides of our human experience, and we do the healing work so that we can call in more joy, call in more pleasure. And this healing work is about finding yourself to be more whole. It's about knitting yourself back together. It's about finding a way to connect with yourself more honestly and more deeply, with self compassion and with an improved sense of self awareness. Now, talking about the motivation to do this work, it's really about you finding this connection with yourself, but also because it provides a platform to connect with others. We're only available to be vulnerable in relationship as much as we're willing to accept and admit our shortcomings. So when people are in your life and they love you and care for you, they want to care for all of you. They're not just there to take the good parts only. We have to let go of this idea that we have to be perfect all the time or overly competent and successful at every endeavor, and really admit to the fact that sometimes our problems are bigger than what we can serve on what we can solve on our own. This is about showing up with authenticity. It's about being vulnerable. It's about letting people in. And I mean this as your children also wanting to connect with you and see you role model what it means to do the healing work. The little ones also want that connection. They crave that connection with you, and they look to you to set the example. They know that healing is possible. It's not even lost on them that there would be a reason to hold back from expressing pain. They are free to do that. It's our socialization that gives this message that pain, anger, shame, vulnerability isn't pretty and it's not acceptable. Instead, you could be showing them a way to deal with negative emotions that's functional and that really is setting the stage for a highly coping attitude towards these negative emotions. I hope that helps round out what it means to do this healing work and why it's so helpful. You're not just healing yourself, but you're healing others around you, setting an example and creating the opportunity for really authentic connection. I'm Allison Lorne. This is Holistic Birth Recovery. Thank you so much for watching, and please visit my website, download the postpartum care checklist, and follow along for more content and videos like this.